Hey buddies, good to see ya. Hey, good to see y'all. Welcome to another episode of Weird Blues Tales, where I tell you true stories about weird stuff that happens to me while I throw in some guitar licks here and there. Hope you enjoy. Today we're doing episode 10, which is a continuation of episode 9, Axe Murder. Again, nobody got murdered, there was no axe, but to kind of recap from last week so that we kind of catch up here. Dude came to take my son away. My future ex-wife and her would-be boyfriend came at my buddy's house way up in the mountains to take my son away. They had abused him, and he didn't want to go with them. And we ended up getting into an altercation. And the guy, the would-be boyfriend, told the state patrol that I had an axe, and I was trying to kill my wife with the axe. As the axe was coming down on her neck, he stuck his hand out there and saved her life. Okay, well, I got away. I was hiding up at this place called Lake Deweese with my son. You should see episode 9 to fill you in on all the details. But my son and I were hanging out at this place I'd never been to before. It was beautiful. We were hanging out there, and I was waiting to talk to my lawyer to see what he could do for me. So my son and I are at this lake. I'm freaking out. I don't know what actually happened to the guy. I thought I accidentally cut him like really bad or something, and I never intended to cut him at all. But I'm up there. I really don't know what's going on. I was up there for about 6 days, and talking to my lawyer. My lawyer was trying to work out a deal where I could surrender and have automatic bail and not go to jail. Just, wait for trial and it would all be good. My son and I had some groceries. We had this cabin, but it was really like a house, a little house apartment. It had like a big living room and a big kitchen and 2 bedrooms, and it was really cool. But we were eating and we were hanging out up there, and I was freaking out. I mean, I was really, really freaking out, but got to stay calm, for the kid and everything. And yeah, it was just really wild. So I got a hold of my lawyer finally. Well, and he was working the deal, and finally he called me and told me that, yeah, I could go to Canyon City and surrender. And I wouldn't have to go to jail. My bond was already arranged. The bondsman was there. The sheriff was there. Everything was good. So I surrendered, did the deal, got my son, went home, um, got an injunction against the original court order that gave my wife custody, like temporary solo custody. We got that revoked, and I had my son, and so I'm, hanging out and waiting for trial. Okay, so like a week or so goes by. Oh, in the meantime, I find out that, yeah, I didn't cut him real bad or anything. He got his webbing on his hand here cut. Well, I was beating his ankle with the hammer side of the hatchet in the window while he was trying to get some kind of weapon out from under the seat. I'm pulling him with this arm. I got him by the leg and I'm pulling him on, beating his ankle bone. He stuck his hand out there trying to grab the hatchet, and his webbing here on his hand got cut while I was going like this. It got caught between the top of the window frame and of the car and the hatchet. Oh, that was a Buick, by the way. I couldn't remember what kind of car it was. It was an old Buick. I can't remember the exact model, but it was an old Buick, and I had a lot of good times in that car. But anyway, so I found out that, yeah, he wasn't injured bad at all. He got like a Band-Aid or something. And, in the meantime, they got a statewide APB out for me. Front page of Rocky Mountain News. Axe murder at large. Shoot to kill. Armed and dangerous. Yeah, I didn't even have a comb. Armed. Had keys. It was like the most weapon I had. Anyway, so I get home. I find out what's going on. So I'm kind of relieved there because I didn't really want to hurt the guy. I mean, if I wanted to hurt him, I would have hurt him, but I didn't want to. I was trying to deter him from taking my son and hurting me. So anywho, I'm home like maybe 5-6 days, and I get this phone call from the guy. His name was Randy. He was a deadhead. He sold psychedelic substances to the Grateful Dead and to their entourage. The Dead were still happening at this time. Jerry Garcia was still alive, and dude was following the Dead around from town to town, place to place, and selling psychedelic substances, okay, which is fine. That's cool. Just don't get my son involved in it. And for sure, don't be having my son involved in the orgy, okay, which is what they did. All right, so anywho, this guy calls me on the phone. And there was a couple people there when he called. And I put it on speakerphone, which I had like a little cassette answering machine thing that you could hit speaker. And I hit it, and here's this guy on the phone telling me that for $20,000, he'll leave town and not testify against me. Well, I didn't have $20,000, but even if I did, I wasn't going to do it. Because I had witnesses that saw the whole thing, and I felt justified in what I did. So, I'm ready to go to court. But anyway, I had these witnesses there that listened to this guy try to extort money from me. So I had that going for me. So, anywho, I got myself a different lawyer, a lawyer for the other county, because my lawyer worked in the county where I lived, neighboring counties. So I got this guy named Rocco McConey, and he was awesome. He was actually pretty cool. Anyway, we're having, the regular court stuff, the arraignments, and this and that. Well, the judge turned out to be the former DA from my county, and this guy hated me. And when he was the DA, he said, I'm going to see to it that you go to jail. No matter how long it takes me, I'm going to make sure you go to jail, which he never could do as DA. So he was bound and determined. Now he's the judge on my case. I probably should have got him recused, but I didn't. I actually trusted him to be fair. Anderson was his name, and he was fair. Okay, but he hated me. All right, so my lawyer works out a deal to where I plead guilty to 4th degree assault And the DA is supposed to go in. This is the DA that offered this deal. This guy turned out to be a real crook. We're going to get into that. But he said, plead guilty to 4th degree assault, and I'll ask the judge for leniency and probation. Okay. Sounds sweet. All right. So Rocco's, we already chose the jury at this point, actually. We'd gone to jury selection, and I had the jury. We were ready to go. And Rocco's like, we got a good case. But if you lose with the 1st degree assault, you can go to jail for 20 years. So, you can roll the dice, and I'm pretty sure we'll win, but you never know about juries and stuff. This is a pretty good deal. You should consider taking it. Okay, well, yeah. I asked, what kind of penalties will I get for having a class 4 felony on my conviction? Well, a class 4 felony is actually a gross misdemeanor, and I can still own guns. It's all good. The only thing I couldn't do was run for president, which seems kind of confounding these days, doesn't it? Anywho, so I'm like, yeah, I'm thinking about it, and I'm like, yeah, I got this guy, I got witnesses that heard him trying to extort me and stuff. I'm pretty sure I can win at trial, but I got 20 years hanging over my head, right? So, yeah, all right, let's take the deal. Okay, so we go to court. And what does the DA do? I plead guilty, and he goes to the judge and asks for the maximum, which was 5 years. Yeah. This guy screwed me. I'm not the only one. We'll get into that. Okay. Well, here's George Anderson up there, and he's like, you're a maverick, and you're a paladin, and we can't have people like you running around in our state, and blah, blah, blah. And he's just going off on me, and I figure, oh, God, I'm gonna cop some time here. Okay. I'd never been to jail except for 10 days for driving under suspension. All right. So I am not digging this at all, but Anderson gives me 60 days. Okay. 60 days in the oldest operating jail in the United States. He gives me 30 days to get my act in order and take care of my business and then surrender to jail. All right, so off to jail I go. I was having some medical problems at the time, and this jail was like, it used to be the old territorial jail. I think it was built in like 1860 or something. Anyway, I got on the top floor. It had these great big windows. Okay, it had like a bars cage. Everybody was in the steel, but there was a big walkway going around the whole thing. It had these huge windows. You could see all over. You could see the mountains. You could get fresh air. It was kind of awesome. I had this good view. And these guys had these towels, and they could do this crap with these towels. It was amazing. They take a towel, stick their hands between the bars and the catwalk, and they'd catch the window, and they'd be able to open the window and stuff. They were amazing. These people just, necessity is the mother of invention, right? And these guys really got creative with their skills and stuff. All right, so I was actually having to go to the doctor and have medical tests, so they had to drive me like 60 miles, and they would knock me out and do these tests, and then the guards liked me. So I would drive the 60 miles, have these tests. He'd let my mom meet me, and then my mom would take us all out to dinner so we could eat like real food. And then they'd take me back to the jail. By the time I got back to the jail, I was all waxed from being, knocked out and stuff. So I get to the jail and they're like, you have to buzz these doors and go in. Right? I'm sitting there and like, who is it? I'm like, it's me. I'm never gonna dance again. I'm out there singing and they're laughing their butts off and stuff. Anyway, they let me in. After about 11 days, I made trustee. So I'm running on all 3 floors, delivering food and hot water and medicines to the various inmates. And this was the holding tank for the penitentiary. So the second floor all had people that were either going to the penitentiary, to prison, or they were just getting out. So that floor was kind of sketchy and that was rough. The top floor I was on were all county prisoners like me that were doing county time. Anytime you get less than 2 years, you usually get county time in a county jail. All right, so I'm there. I'm doing my thing. I'll tell you more about that, about being in jail another time. It was like kind of cool. It was a good experience, build character. I mean, I don't like being there, but it turned out to be kind of entertaining in a way. All right, so while I'm in there, I meet this older guy named Mikey. Now, Mikey was in his 60s when I was in there. He owned a paint company. And he painted houses and stuff like that. And Mike had painted the DA's house. And the DA said he didn't like the job. He wanted his money back. Mike didn't have his money back. The guy paid him $5,000. Mike paid his help. He did his stuff. He paid his bills. He didn't have the $5,000. So he wrote the DA a bum check. He was going to, get it in there and try to make it right. Anyway, the DA prosecuted him, which is a conflict of interest. He prosecuted this guy for a crime that happened to him. Total conflict of interest. Anyway, he got the guy sent up for 5 years. This old guy, he was like about 63 years old. He got him sent up for 5 years. And I became really good friends with Mikey. So after I got out, they sent Mikey up to a penitentiary on Golden. It was kind of easy. It was kind of outdoors, but okay. When you're in jail, if you're a man, you don't get to see women, like at all. Maybe on TV or something, but you don't ever actually get to see a lady, all right? So I started going up and visiting him. And when I went to see him, I'd bring him cigarettes, which he's the only person I ever bought cigarettes for because I don't like cigarettes. But Mikey's in jail. And I'd always bring a woman with me so he could see a woman. And we didn't have the glass partition. They actually let us visit in a little room. It was monitored. They had cameras and stuff, right? But we could sit in there and talk. He could smell the girl. I could talk to her. I mean, he didn't touch her or anything, and nothing went on like that. But yeah, I was going and visiting him. Every couple of months I'd go see him, bring him some cigarettes, bring a woman with me so he could see the woman. All right. So about a year goes by. Okay. I'm on probation from this stuff. Got a 3-year suspended prison sentence over my head. If I get in trouble, do anything in that period of time, 3 years, I go straight to prison for 3 years. So I'm really scared to do anything wrong. All right, but I get this phone call from Mikey, and he says, you're going to get an envelope in the mail. When you get this envelope, you need to take it to this CBI agent and give him the whole envelope. Okay, and he says, in the meantime, there's this other CBI guy that's undercover in the prison. And they know about him. The prisoners know about him. And they're going to kill his twin daughters. So you need to tell the CBI about this so they pull this guy out and save his daughters. So yeah, I get the envelope, I contact the agent, I give him the information. I looked in the envelope. It was a big manila envelope, okay? And in it, there's documentation on this DA. Dates, times, photographs of him snorting C off of the dashboard of somebody's car. The times that he let this C dealer get caught and turn him loose. He was getting Demerol from doctors illegally to get to his wife, who was injecting it. This guy was bad, all right? He was a major criminal, all right? And he screwed me and he screwed Mikey. So I'm like, yeah, shaft this guy. So I turned all the information over. I didn't hear anything. Okay. So in the meantime, life is doing strange things. I ended up going to school, going to college and getting my GED and all this stuff, and ended up in the boonies, way out east on the prairie. And one day I'm there and somebody knocks on my door at 6 or 7 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, geez, who's this? Nobody comes to visit me. Nobody really even knows I'm here. And what are they doing here this early? So I answer the door, and it's two CBI agents. And they're like, okay, this is like a couple of years down the road. They're like, okay, we're ready to move on this DA. We're going to arrest him. You need to leave the state because they're going to come after you. Okay. So I moved to Salida. I moved to Seattle. Pardon me. I moved to Seattle, and yeah, ended up living in Seattle for 5 years, which is a whole nother ball of stories there. I met a lot of interesting people up there, including Kurt Cobain and Chris Novoselic, and guys in Soundgarden, guys in Alice in Chains, guys in Screaming Trees. Yeah, I took my guitar and my amp and my suitcase and went up there, and had a good time, sort of. I won my court case and got my son. I had permanent custody of him. I was the primary custodian, and my poor wife, who had some mental health issues, had to end up going through a bunch of stuff to get well. Now, from the time I dropped episode 9 up until I'm recording this right now, she passed away. It's very sad. She was a good lady. She had some problems, but once she got over those problems, dealing with them through help, she was an awesome lady, and she was a good mom. But during the period that we're talking about, she wasn't right, and it wasn't really her fault. But in the end, things worked out. I got my son, I raised him, and he's a pretty good kid for all the stuff he went through. And I love him dearly. I loved her. All the women I've been with, there's only 2 that I'm not speaking to. And there's like 40. So, in the last episode, it kind of sounded like I was bragging about stuff and, I used to be a badass. Well, I just want to tell you guys the way it was. I'm reluctant to tell these stories because, yeah, it kind of sounds like I'm bragging and stuff, but I really was a different person and did some phenomenal stuff. And I'm not going to get into war stories, but I was a bad dude. And, you know, that's kind of it. I hope you enjoyed this finale of episode 9. I'm coming here on episode 10. I love you guys much. In the future here, we're going to be doing another haunted house and some medical stuff and maybe even a couple slight war stories. I'll be telling them to you because of stuff that happened to me because of these things. Okay, so I really appreciate you being here. For episode 10 of Weird Blues Tales. And we'll see you again, hopefully pretty soon here for episode 11. And it's either going to be a haunted house or it's going to be the reason they took my ear off and put it back on. Okay? So we got lots more tales to go here. I've got a whole lifetime's worth of weird stories to tell you. If I run out, I'll start doing other people's and letting you know that there are other people that I knew. Okay? But right now, we still got my stories to go. And I hope you keep coming back and tuning in for the Weird Blues Tales. I got other content on my channel.